Hi, my name is Anton Uhl. I was born and raised in Aspen a long time ago, and I'm raising my kids here. I'm the third generation in a restaurant family. My mother had Gretel's on Aspen Mountain, which was very well known from the 1966 to 1980. Everybody from kings, princes, movie stars, everybody went there. Gretel's #1 was a place everybody wanted to work there. The atmosphere was unique. The employees, astounding. People with PhDs, people that had their own restaurant chains, you name it, worked there. The food came from the valley here. The eggs came from the Marins. The cream for the strudel came from Snowmass here, old Snowmass. And everybody would wait in line for this food, but it was fresh. Everything was made from scratch every day. It was hauled up the mountain on the chairlift initially. Gretel was amazing. She taught us how to cook, of course, at home. The whole food thing kind of came to me partly from Mom. I was always around people who cooked. When I worked in the opera, we would leave the Metropolitan, we'd go to Jimmy Levine's, for example, and all the singing stars would be there, and some of the, the director and whoever, and everybody be cooking together, rotating through the kitchen. Some people out in the living room, serving up some drinks, and they'd shift into the kitchen. Someone in the kitchen would bring out their creation, and this is how everybody unwound. Cooking with Anton, very much oriented around getting the family together, getting people back to the table, to the dinner table, enjoying the kitchen, so that the kitchen isn't a place where you think, oh my gosh, I've had such a busy day today, and now I've got to cook on top of that? Oh no. It's, wow, I've had such a busy day. Oh yeah, I can go in the kitchen, tune everything out, and just focus on the kitchen. We're in my kitchen, and I designed this kitchen so that it would be camera friendly. I had no clue, that this would ever happen. And a few months after moving into the house, the phone rang, and it was somebody asking if I could provide them with some content. I said, yeah, what kind of content? And he says, how about cooking? That was Rick Kalin, and he put us on TV locally here for a little while. And this year, Marcus Rodriguez has taken over the show. That's Outside Network, and now it's like starting to happen. It's already got its little roots reaching out beyond. Oh, everywhere from Spain to Greece to California, We give you recipes and we travel.
And does your family appreciate your food?
The kids don't. They love ketchup. Just made this morning. We already ate one of these loaves. They don't last long. But, I would always make a fresh dough every morning. This is like fabulous. You smell it, and it's like the European flavor finally captured. I grow it for 2 or 3 days, or 4. And after a few days, it's really brought out the flavor of the flour.
So can everybody do that?
Yeah, everyone can do it. If you can't, watch my show. I'll teach you how. With the cooking show, of course, now we have a cookbook coming out. And there's another book called Eating for Success, where I've interviewed 24 of the nation's most powerful trainers and speakers in personal success venues. I'm working on book 2. I have a cartoon called South Comic, and it's a story of 2 penguins that have taken over the 2 boats that were left behind by Ernest Shackleton in 1916 in Antarctica. And that's actually becoming fairly successful now. When Mom started Gretel's, the first or second year that she had Gretel's, she bought this land down here. Klaus Obermeyer told her about it. He's our neighbor. And she bought this, and I'm glad she hung on to it, because it's a great place for my kids to be growing up. The house is designed so the kids can rollerblade in here. We've got their swing. It isn't just for the kids. Everybody's been on this swing. So I have 2 kids. My wife and I started late. We've got an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. Very artistic daughter and very clever son.
Artwork?
This is all my artwork. This is a part of a ceiling that I made for my house in LA. Wow. I liked the pencils, so I decided not to paint it. My father was an artist, And all the way back, we have records in our family back to 1760, and it's all artists, musicians, musicians. One bookkeeper, I don't know how they got in there, but all those artists probably needed a bookkeeper, I'm sure. You know, I'm the first born here. My sister was born in Germany in the Alps. It was really great to take the kids to Europe a couple of years ago because I lived in Paris for a while. I lived in 11 cities since I left home. And when I lived in Paris, my wife also lived in Paris and Milan. So we took the kids to show them our old digs where we lived in Europe. And they loved it. They got it. Well, I was a set designer for 35 years for opera, television, movies. So, I mean, Pavarotti's some of my stages. You know. I was lucky. I started out with kind of walked right into Juilliard, and minutes later was hired, and 3 weeks later I was head of the scenic department at 18 years old, $6 in my pocket, you know. It was just... My wife was a fashion photographer in London and Milan. In the morning the geese fly by. Meadows, it's like being in Scotland, or the trees, it's like being in Tuscany. I don't know, I love it. When I was 18, I left here. I left Aspen, and I arrived in New York with $6 in my pocket. And I had a knack, so I was helping them out on the stage. We were building Macbeth, and Juilliard, of course, is part of Lincoln Center, so it's the launch pad for the Metropolitan Opera. So I mean, these humongous, incredible sets going up, you know, full productions. And after a few weeks, I was thinking, gosh, we're standing around with our coffee and our cigarettes in those days. You know, what am I supposed to be doing? And so he said, come to the production meeting. Director and designer will be there. Had no clue what that meant, who they were. So I went, started asking questions, and the next day I had all the information. I started telling people, you could be doing this, you could be doing that. And the third week I was promoted to the head of the scenic department.
How long did you do that for?
Oh, years, 35 years. Not at Juilliard, but all around the world. I was invited to Europe to work on Wagner's Ring in 78, 79. I worked all across Canada. I had a really good reputation. No, actually, I did very little art in Paris. When I first got there, I was so romantic. I got out my watercolors and sat down and scooped water out of the Seine and used that water to color my costume sketches, you know. And then a friend of mine found a place for me in Montmartre, so I was living in this mansard roofed place, just wedding cake building, and of course I was in the slave headquarters with an unbelievable view out over all of Paris, and no hot water, no real power. At one point I was cooking stuff off the back of an iron. If your art is coming from your heart, then you start to attract people from the heart, and those people end up being people you can work well with. But team is a really big part of it, and it has to be a team that you love. It has to come from here. My whole life has been this chain of serendipity. I've had such good fortune. I have lived such a dream life. I've always done what I wanted, pretty much on my own time. And I don't think that's because I was born different than anybody else. I think it's because I love people and I love being part of this world. I'm always, when I meet new people, everybody has a story. Someone did an exercise with me where you sat and held somebody's hand, didn't matter man or woman. You looked them right in the eye and said, the beauty I see in you. And when I did that, people that I was afraid of, people that I had judgments against, suddenly blossomed in front of my eyes. And I blossomed because I could see that I could be part of this world in a really rich and fulfilling way. So thank you so much, all of you who've supported me, my mentors, my friends, the people I keep meeting on the streets and everywhere. This is a wonderful time to be alive, and I look forward to seeing some of you around.